Reality Al-Mahdi, this channel is red lights. Enjoy the blessed words of the well-guided Imam here on Reality Al-Mahdi.
The remaining one is the place of Ahmad Tijani. You are still on the zikr by excellence, which is the Salat al-Fatiha. What propels you to the place of Ahmad Tijani is devotion. That's why Mahdi said, "Amatana Allahu ala dini nabi wa hubbi shaykhina imam taybi." Devotion propels you to the place of Ahmad Tijani. And that's the disciple who took the word and has immeasurable love for Shaykh Tijani. This latter can be certain that he lives with the light in Ahmad Tijani, because over there are no rules. There are no protocols. There is only Shaykh Tijani. He does this to the souls present with him. He looks at them while they encircle his intermediate space. When looking at the souls, it looks like they are inside a bowl of light. When you observe them, they look so far away, but they are actually close because of his martaba. When you are the holder of Khatmiya and Katmiya, anything coming to you from the world ghaib will appear as far. That's why if you observe the souls, you will think they sit far away from him, when in fact they are actually close. Devotion brought them there. When picking, he does what we do with our phones when taking a picture, and that is to zoom something far, and he puts a stamp on it. This is how Shaykh chooses. He picks one soul out and zooms it with his light before putting a stamp on it. After receiving the stamp, the person's grade will be raised and will acquire some benefits from this tariqah, meaning one can benefit from a ziyarah towards him on Monday and Friday. When Shaykh Tijani stamps his soul, the latter will be part of those of which you can ziyarah on Monday and Friday and be saved if he accepts the ziyarah. Not many can reach this level. You see, anything brought by the Tariqah Tijaniyah, there is a justification in the world ghaib. But if you follow the books and just argue, a lot of material will be unknown to you. Where is the source in what hadith replying to the latter? And missing your litanies because of it, it's not worth it. The place of Ahmad Tijani, devotion, after having the word of Salat al-Fatiha, his love towards Mawla Shaykh Ahmad Tijani will be measured. If the love is there, the way Shaykh Tijani wants it, because only he knows how this love should be. One elder once said, during his time, he told me this, when I was completing my spiritual training, and I personally know him, he loves Shaykh Tijani. He said, I was in the middle of my spiritual training and had the love for Shaykh. But one day, when I went to sleep, I dreamed of Mawla Shaykh Ahmad Tijani. He came to me and told me, I know you have love for me, but to grant you access into my place, have love for this person, and gave him a name. The person he told me to have love for is part of the tariqah, but he wasn't my guide. He wasn't my guide. He told me, I had devotion towards him, but I also had to have love for another person. And that person was in this tariqah, but wasn't his guide. He didn't take the word or renew from him. Maybe he heard about him and they never spoke, but he wasn't his guide. He told me, when I woke up the next day, the person indicated to me was the Khalif of Shaykh Tijani during that period. He told me I went to him and touched the curtains of his room. And the assistant told me, you can see him, as he said he's available for everyone today. So I entered his room and he told me, I heard what the assistant said about my availability, but I am only available for you. And the love that Shaykh said, if you pass it through me, he will welcome you. He told me on that day, I had the confirmation. You can't trick a man of God. Not going to happen. And look, he traveled from city to city, but the elder was ahead of him in everything. Because it's the place of Ahmad Tijani. He's reciting the Salatul Fatiha. He had the love, but the devotion Shaykh Tijani is looking for. He's the one who knows to whom he has to pass through. The devotion can be there. There are some who have love for him, but if you don't have the same devotion towards his circle, he will not acknowledge this love. He gave you the Salatul Fatiha, and he is not waiting for you to return the favor. Therefore, he is not going to force you. But when he acknowledges the love, he will welcome you into his place. And that's his setting of Khatmiya and Katmiya. You know, a lot of people think whenever Mawlay Shaykh Ahmad Tijani is sitting in Ghaib, the trophies Khatmiya and Katmiya are next to him. That's not the case. Whenever he wants, he goes to the headquarters of the Khatmiya and Katmiya to make it one. If he always sat at the headquarters, no one would be able to see him, let alone have a conversation with him. Because the martaba will be so far for any wali trying to get near. Mawlay Shaykh Ahmad Tijani, the rahmah in the Prophet ﷺ, Allah gave him this same rahmah. But wanting to help the awliya is the reason why sometimes he leaves the headquarters of the Khatmiya and Katmiya so people can have access to him. If he did otherwise, it will be impossible to get to him. And this Allah approves, because everyone has a status. In the Quran, what did Allah say? لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. إلا بإذنه. You know, there are some intermediate spaces. You cannot access it unless the owner grants it. Only the owner can grant you access. A book is not going to teach you this. Never mind a mystical teacher. But a true educator can give you orientation. A true educator can tell you to love those whom Mawlay Shaykh have, for him to welcome you. With that being said, the place of Ahmad Tijani, when the devotion is accepted, your soul will be at this place, turning every day. But Mawlay Shaykh Ahmad Tijani, every day, when the mosques are performing wazifa, when the places of light are performing wazifa, when the light is flowing, he sits at the Khatmiya and Katmiya and watches. What he does during wazifa comes from here. Pearls of the rosary hitting left and right. The rosary has 100 beads. And one bead can go from left to right. And here, our rosary cannot have this type of effect. So it tells you that the pearls are different. His ball of light. And a ball of light, if a hand is inside, becomes wider. When holding a ball of light, when hal gets inside it, it widens. This is why you used to hear among the elders, if one of them would get mad, people would back then notice a difference in height. They performed zikr until their body became nuraniyu. And nuraniyu, accompanied with hal, the body becomes longer. This has happened a lot. The elder that I saw looks different. Because this man here is 6'5" and he's not that tall. I went to his house and he looked way taller. It's because the elder's body is nuraniyu. And nuraniyu in a state of hal becomes longer. It also shows why the rosary of Mawlay Shaykh Ahmad Tijani during wazifa, the pearls shift from left to right. This happens when he is in the Hadara Tijaniya, his headquarters, a place where the name Shaykh Tijani only goes back to him, a place where being a Tijani also only goes back to him. The haqiqa, origin of the word Tijaniya, the parasol of light, Tijaniyatul Uzna, it's the headquarters itself. He sits there facing those souls. No matter how many times you've performed zikr, if you don't have love for him, your soul will not be displayed. Sometimes he looks at one soul, pulls it closer to him, and puts a stamp. If this happens to you, you will become part of those individuals who can change people's life if one were to make a ziyarah towards you on Mondays and Fridays. But they can also have their own reserve. And that is, if they don't want someone to see them on Mondays and Fridays, they can switch. The men of God have this ability. There are some people who think, if you see those chosen individuals, automatically you will be saved. But Abu Lahab, did they forget he was there during the Prophet's time? Or Abu Lahab never saw the Prophet? He saw him with his eyes, but he didn't see him in haqiqah. And what saves the individual after seeing those chosen people is the light emanating from them fixing the ladder. And this light can only be found in haqiqah and not from seeing the person eye to eye. That's why the elders who were at this stage used to observe people who came to make ziyarah towards them before shaking hands. They will come out and you will tell them, I had so many sins, but when I saw you, it all went away. Others will respond to you, you better repent, because the person you saw is not who you wanted to meet. It's him, I recognize his clothing. They know what they are saying, because it's their reality. But you see, if it's someone who has love for them, they get out of their normal state and enter the state of barakah. That way, once they shake your hand, everything coming your way will become easy. This is possible because Mawlana Shaykh Tijani stamped their soul. Therefore, the different facets brought by the Tariqah Tijaniyah, with the zikr by excellence from the light of Salat al-Fatiha, there is a path to pursue. There is a path to follow. You see, the place of Muhammad is harder to reach. Picking 7 manners, practice those 7 manners. Go from the hidden side to seeing the balls of light who pay you visit. The ball of light becoming one, then going back to the pool of the time, and wait for his final verdict. Here, Shaykh Tijani only accepts devotion. And only I know how devoted you should be. Once I approve of the love you have for me, I will accept having you at my place. When the elders knew of this, they all took a paper and wrote about him, to express the love they had for him. They all took a pen and paper and wrote about him, to express their love. All of these songs were based on the love they had for him.
Prophecy, prophecy, his time has come, his time has arrived. The one Rasulullah has told us about this mission at the end of time.